Well, good morning, people of Earth. Welcome to Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. It's the 30th of January 2025 and the time is 10:28 a.m. and it's very hot outside. It's only 25 degrees, but it feels humid and hotter. So I've thrown on the air conditioning and we'll just soldier on, I think, people of Earth. Soldier on. So, as promised, I said I would come back to complete reading the Arabian Nights. Hopefully I'll be able to complete it in one video today. And then I'll have to start reading you other stories that I come across in my newly added to collection. So, we broke off yesterday's video just when Ali bin Bakker has told, who was he talking to? My goodness, I'm really lost in space, am I not? Has told his servant, but what was the name of the servant? I can't find it. Anyway, he's told someone that that his friend, who he would not sever himself from even an hour, and trusted him with his secrets, in other words, they were very close friends, had now gone on a certain business with a company of his friends, and when he came back, he had gone absent for 3 days with his friends, and when he came back, found Abu al-Hassan's shop empty and all closed and locked up. And when he asked the neighbours about him, they said he has gone to Basora. So now I know he had no surer friend than thou, so by Allah, tell me what thou knowest of him. So he was asking about his whereabouts, where he had gone and how he was faring in life, which is fair enough. You want to know where your friends disappear to, and on rare occasions they disappear off the radar. So anyway, when Ali bin Bakker heard this, his colour changed and he was troubled and answered, I never heard till this day of his departure, and if the case be as thou sayest, weariness is upon me. And he began repeating, for joys that are no more, I want to weep. Just looking for an eraser. Right. For joys there are no more, I want to weep, while friends and lovers stood by me unscattered. This day, when disunited me and them, fortune, I weep lost loves and friendship shattered. Yes, well, we've all been there, haven't we, people of Earth? Lost loves and dead friendships, and it's all a bit tragic, really. But anyway, here's to the greatest loves of our lives and the most potent, powerful friendships, and holding our own on planet Earth as we do each day. Sometimes being our own best friend and greatest loves too, and there's no one around, but I have been greatly loved in recent weeks, and to you all, my darlings, even in my strange, solitary walk through life. Then he hung his head groundwards and thought a while, and presently raising it and looking to one of his servants, said, "Go to Abu al-Hasan's house and inquire anent him, whether he be at home or journeying abroad. If they say he is abroad, ask whither he be gone." The servant went out, and returning after a while, said to his master, "When I asked for Abu al-Hasan, his people told me that he was gone on a journey to Basora. But I saw a damsel standing at the door, who, knowing me by sight, though I knew her not, said to me, 'Art thou not servant to Ali bin Bakker?' 'Even so,' answered I, and she rejoined, 'I bear a message for him from one who is the dearest of all folk to him.' So she came with me, and she is now standing at the door." Quoth Ali bin Bakkar, "Bring her in." The servant went out to her and brought her in, and the man who was with Ali looked at her and found her pretty. Then she advanced to the son of Bakkar and saluted him and spake with him secretly, and from time to time during the dialogue he exclaimed with an oath and swore that he had not talked and tattled of it. Then she took leave of him and went away. Now Abu Hassan's friend was a jeweller. I'm smiling because I aspire to be a jeweller one day. Art keeps imitating life, people do. And when she was gone, he found a place for speech and said to Ali bin Bakkar, "Doubtless and assuredly the Caliph's household have some demand upon thee, and thou hast dealings therewith." "Who told thee of this?" asked Ali, and the jeweller answered, "I know it by yonder damsel who is Shams al-Nahar's slave girl. For she came to me a while since with a note wherein was written that she wanted a necklace of jewels, and I sent her a costly collar." But when Ali bin Bakkar heard this, he was greatly troubled, so that the jeweller feared to see him give up the ghost. Yet after a while he recovered himself and said, "O my brother, I conjure thee, by Allah, to tell me truly how thou knowest her." Replied he, "Do not press this question upon me." And Ali rejoined, "Indeed, I will turn from thee till thou tell me the whole truth. Sorry, I will not turn from thee until thou tell me the whole truth." Sometimes I change a whole story just by missing that little knot. It's got me into great trouble at times, completely misconstruing my intentions and meanings. Where was I? Quoth the jeweller, "I will tell thee all, on condition that thou distrust me not, and that my words cause thee no restraint, nor will I conceal aught from thee by way of secret, but will discover to thee the truth of the affair, provided that thou acquaint me with the true state of thy case, and the cause of thy sickness. Then he told him all that had passed from first to last between Abu al-Hasan and himself, adding, I acted thus only out of friendship for thee and of my desire to serve thee, and assured him that he would keep his secret and venture life and good in his service. So Ali in turn told him his story and added, By Allah, O my brother, naught moved me to keep my case secret from thee and from others, but my fear lest folk should lift the veils of protection from certain persons. Rejoined the jeweller, And I desired not to foregather with thee, but of the great affection I bear thee, and my zeal for thee in every case, and my compassion for the anguish thy heart endureth from severance. Haply I may be a comforter to thee in the room of my friend Abu al-Hasan during the length of his absence. So be thou of good cheer, and keep thine eyes cool and clear. I like that. Keep your eyes cool and clear, people of earth. I think that's a polite way of saying hold your line. Don't sweat the small stuff. Never ever let the bastards grind you down. Stay cool till after school, etc., etc., etc. Thereupon Ali thanked him and repeated these couplets. And say I, patient, I can bear his faring. My tears and sighings give my say the lie. How can I hide these tears that course adown this plain my cheek for friend too fain to fly? Then he was silent a while, and presently said to the jeweller, Knowest thou what secret the girl whispered to me? Answered he, Not I, but Allah, O my lord. Quoth Ali, She fancied that I directed Abu al-Hasan to go to Bassorah, and that I had devised this device to put a stop to our correspondence and consorting. I swore to her that this was on no wise so, but she would not credit me, and went away to her mistress, persisting in her injurious suspicions, for she inclined to Abu al-Hasan, and gave ear to his word. Answered the young jeweller, O my brother, I understood as much from the girl's manner, but I will win for thee thy wish, inshallah. Rejoined Ali bin Bakker, Who can be with me in this, and how wilt thou do with her, when she shies and flies like a wildling of the wold? Cried the jeweller, By Allah, needs must I do my utmost to help thee, and contrive to scrape acquaintance with her without exposure or mischief. Then he asked leave to depart, and Ali bin Bakker said, O my brother, mind thou keep my counsel. And he looked at him and wept. The jeweller bade him goodbye and fared forth, not knowing what he should do to win for him his wishes. And he ceased not walking, while over musing the matter, till he spied a letter lying in the road. He took it up and looked at its direction and superscription, then read it, and behold, it ran, From the least worthy of lovers to the most worthy of beloveds. So he opened it and found these words written therein. A messenger from thee came bringing union hope, but that he erred somehow with me, the thought prevailed. So I rejoiced not, rather grew my grief still more, weeting my messenger of wits, and wit had failed. But afterwards, know, O my lord, that I ken not the reason why our correspondence between thee and me hath been broken off. Oh, she's a sweetheart, my writer. She's cleaning. She shut the door so as not to disturb us. Oh, blessed girl. She really is a darling. Because I was just about to jump up and shut the door myself, but she'd already thought of that. Where were we? That I ken not the reason why our correspondence between thee and me hath been broken off. But if the cruelty arise from thy part, I will requite it with fidelity. And if thy love have departed, I will remain constant to my love of the parted. Oh, that can be a soul trap and a hell loop, just say. Been there. Well. True love is like that. It's hard to let go of. Only comes once sometimes in a person's life. If you're lucky, you get it a few times, but so one can never know for sure, to be honest. If departed, I'll remain constant to my love of the parted, for I am with thee, even as says the poet. Be proud, I'll crouch. Bully, I'll bear. Despise, I'll pray. Go, I will come. Speak, I will hear. Bid, I'll obey. Very codependent and kind of enslavement. Not good, people of earth. Not good. Stay free and wild for as long as you can, even in partnership. As Khalil Gibran said in The Prophet, be as two trees, side by side, neither encroaching upon the other, but holding equal grounding. I didn't say it exactly that way, I just, extrapolated that. But shelter each other, but don't subsume each other. Because that is an abuse dynamic, people of earth. As he was reading, lo, up came the slave girl, looking right and left, and seeing the paper in the jeweller's hand, said to him, O my master, this letter is one I let fall. He made her no answer, but walked on, and she walked behind him, till he came to his house, when he entered, and she after him, saying, O my master, give me back this letter, for it fell from me. I'm triggered now. Had to fight to get my love letters back from that evil cesspit in the seventh echelon of hell. David's son. David ben David. Son of a bitch that he was. Never mind. He eventually gave them back to me, but only to mock and humiliate me. But by then I was over the worst. Very careful who I write love letters to now. I write them to myself when I'm feeling very fucking distressed. I remind myself of my true worth as a woman. I write myself beautiful love letters. And then I think, what a shame I never found anyone to love me so sweetly and romantically. But that's not technically true anymore. I'm immersed in a lot of love these days, even though it's unavailable and unattainable. But it is what it is, people of earth. Rejoice in the sweetness that surrounds you every day. I want to cry when I think about it, but I won't cry because I'm okay actually. Sorta, kinda. Some days I'm not okay, but it is what it is. Anyway, where were we? She's begging for her love letter back. Never beg a man for anything. Demand your love letters back. Make sure you get them back, sisters of Estros, and then burn them and cast them to the winds, and remember to never love a monster like that ever again. Did it work for me? No. There were a few more monsters that came after even Davidson. It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's completely unbelievable. But anyway, hopefully that curse is broken. At long last I can have a real love who values, cherishes, adores and respects me. It's passionate and romantic and proud and happy to have me as his woman. Could happen one day. Will I ever trust in it? Maybe, given time and genuine heartfelt efforts. Time will tell. You must not get bitter because life is long, and alternatively, if you ask Charlie, life's very fucking short. So make the best of each day, people of Earth, and hold your head up high and take great joy and delight in each moment and breath and day and night and afternoon and evening and morning, and rejoice in the love that's shown me and you, and be grateful and happy and gracious and smile. Smile though your heart is breaking. Smile, smile, smile. Don't fake it. Don't ever fake happiness or love, because it'll bite you on the arse in the end, people of Earth. Anyway, life is such a paradox sometimes. Are we still filming? Yes. I'm just unplugged because I'll have to take the laptop with me when Righty has to come in here to clean. Right, where were we? Thereon he turned to her and said, O handmaid of good, fear not, neither grieve, for verily Allah the Protector loveth those who protect. But tell me in truthful way thy case, as I am one, who keepeth counsel. I conjure thee by an oath not to hide from me aught of thy lady's affairs, for haply Allah shall help me to further her wishes, and make easy by my hand that which is hard. Make life easier for her, he means. When the slave girl heard these words, she said, O my lord, indeed a secret is not lost whereof thou art the secretist, nor shall any affair come to naught for which thou strivest. Know that my heart inclineth to thee and would interest thee with my tidings. But do thou give me the letter. Then she told him the whole story, adding, Allah is witness to whatso I say. Quoth he, Thou hast spoken truly, for I am acquainted with the root of the matter. Then he told her his tale of Ali bin Bakker, and how he had learned his state of mind, and related to her all that had passed from first to last, whereat She rejoiced, and they two agreed that she should take the letter and carry it to Ali and return and acquaint the jeweller with all that happened. So he gave her the letter, and she took it and sealed it up as it was before, saying, My mistress, Shams al-Nahar, gave it to me sealed, and when he hath read it and given me its reply, I will bring it to thee. Then she took leave and repaired to Ali bin Bakker, whom she found waiting, and gave him the letter. He read it, and writing a paper, you ready? Okay. We'll do a little dance. We'll make a little laugh. We'll have fun tonight. No, I'm joking about that. We're just going to move the laptop. It's not that exciting, people of Earth. Calm your farm, people of Earth. You have to laugh. Yes, I know. This ugly dress I'm wearing. Never mind. Right, let us continue. Dear Goddess, did I flip a page? Yes, I somehow flipped the page. How did I do that? Let me just go back to the beginning of that paragraph because I'm a bit lost now, people of Earth. Get lost very easily, don't I? It's a worry. Where's my brain at? That's a worry. Anyway, carry on. We must carry on. No matter what, we must carry on. Then she took leave and repaired to Ali bin Bakker, whom she found waiting, and gave him the letter. He read it, and writing a paper by way of reply, gave it to her. And she carried it. Oh, I was up to that. And she carried it to the jeweller, who tore asunder the seal, and read it, and found written therein these two couplets. The messenger who kept our commerce hid hath failed and showed wrath without disguise. Choose one more leal from your many friends, who truth approving disproves of lies. The messenger, I read that. Oh dear Goddess. Let me just take a deep breath. Right. To proceed. Verily, verily, I have not entered upon perfidy, nor have I abandoned fidelity. I have not used cruelty, neither have I out of lealty. No covenant hath been broken by me, nor hath love tie been severed by me. I have not parted from penitence, nor have I found aught but misery and ruin after severance. I know nothing of that thou avouchest, nor do I love aught but that which thou lovest. By him who knoweth the secret of hidden things, none discover. I have no desire save union with my lover, and my one business is my passion to conceal, albeit with sore sickness I ail. This is the exposition of my case, and now all hail. When the jeweller read this letter and learnt its contents, he wept with sore weeping, and the slave girl said to him, Leave not this place till I return to thee. For he suspecteth me of such and such things, in which he is excusable. So it is my desire to bring about a meeting between thee and my mistress, al-Nahar, howsoever I may trick you to it. For the present I left her prostrate, awaiting my return with the reply. Are we ready to swap over? Okay. Did you want a mop in there first? Okay, oh, will you let me know when you've done? Okay. Then she went away, and the jeweller passed the night with a troubled mind. And when day dawned, he prayed his dawn prayer, and sat expecting the girl's coming. And behold, she came in to him rejoicing with much joy. And he asked her, What news, O damsel? She answered, After leaving thee, I went to my mistress and gave her the letter written by Ali bin Bakker, and when she read it and understood it, she was troubled and confounded. But I said to her, O my lady, have no fear of your affair being frustrated by Abu al-Hasan's disappearance, for I have found one to take his place, better than he, and more of worth, and a good man to keep secrets. Surely you don't want to have affairs that you have to keep secret, women of earth? My goodness. I mean, some secrets can be a bit of fun, but all the secrecy, it does my head in. But anyway, then I told putting my judgments on a first story. Here we go again, people of earth. Oh, God has helped me. Then I told her what was between thyself and Abu al-Hasan, and how they came by his confidence, and that of Ali bin Bakker, and how that note was dropped, and thou camest by it. And I also showed her how we arranged matters betwixt me and thee. The jeweller marvelled with much wonder when she resumed, And now my mistress would hear whatso thou sayest, that she may be assured by thy speech of the covenants between thee and him. So get thee ready to go with me to her forthwith. When the jeweller heard the slave girl's words, he saw that the proposed affair was grave and a great peril to brave, not likely to be undertaken or suddenly entered upon, and he said to her, O my sister, verily I am of the ordinary, and not like unto Abu al-Hasan, for he being of high rank and of well-known repute, was wont to frequent the Caliph's household because of their need of his merchandise. As for me, he used to talk with me, and I trembled before him the while. So, if thy mistress would speak with me, our meeting must be in some place other than the Caliph's palace, and far from the abode of the commander of the faithful. For my common sense will not let me consent to what thou proposest. Is my hair doing weird little things? See, even fresh from the hairdresser yesterday. My hair is like Medusa hair, it does what it wants, whatever, because it's attached to my spirit, and we are wild and free and untamable babies. Just sit down and behave yourself. Goodness me. On this wise he refused to go with her, and she went on to say that she would be surety for his safety, adding, Take heart and fear no harm. Look at this, look. Oh my goodness. It's because I've got too much electricity in my body. Too much static electricity. Somebody should supercharge me, blast me out into the... No, you'd better be careful. Be careful with your words, Tiny Errands. You have things that you say that have a habit of coming true. I'll behave now. Just calm my farm. Calm my farm people around. Well, I was thinking about being supercharged in a nice way, not electrocuted. But, the spirits take things very literally, you understand. You coming? Okay. You've got some texts that have been coming through. I don't know who. I didn't look because it's not my business, but you're wanted. You are wanted, my Rati. You are greatly wanted. Right. Oh, let me just shut that door. It smells nice and fresh in here, thank you. Oh, it's nice and fresh in here now. Thank you. Right. Let me just start that sentence again. On this wise he refused to go with her, and she went on to say that she would be surety for his safety, adding, "Take heart and fear no harm," and pressed him to courage till he consented to accompany her, with all his legs bent and shivered, and his hands quivered, and he exclaimed, "Allah forbid that I should go with thee. Indeed, I have not strength to do this thing." Replied she, "Hearten thy heart, if it be hard for thee to go to the Caliph's palace, and thou canst not muster up courage to accompany me. I will make her come to thee, so budge not from thy place, till I return to thee with her." What's the old saying? If Muhammad won't go to the mountain, mountain will come to Muhammad. Or is that the other way around? But anyway, you know what I'm saying. Cultural appropriation et al. Then the slave girl went away and was absent for a while, but a short while, after which she returned to the jeweller and said to him, "Take thou care that there be with thee none save thyself," which is kind of forbidden in the Muslim religion for a single man to be alone in a room with a single woman. It's big, big no-no. How do I know this? When I was 17 and I was at Victoria University of Wellington, 17, just turned 17, and I was studying law, but I was also studying, I failed at law miserably, that's why I dropped out. Definitely not a lawyer. I abhor lawyers of all kinds. Sorry, but anyway, because I got very damaged by them the ensuing years. But anyway, I was studying at university briefly, and I had to go to a tutorial. I think it was for my English literature class, modern literature class. And I arrived early because of my extreme anxiety, even as a young girl. So part of my complex PTSD. So I arrived, writhing in nerves and a bit wrecked. So I thought, I'll get there early and then I'll have time to breathe, and calm myself before everyone arrives, which was fine. It was a good plan. So I'm all pretty and young and sweet and blonde. Like back in those days, I was still natural blonde for a while. And anyway, and this young man from Malaysia arrived. And he just takes one look at me and his mouth drops open and he starts shivering and shaking like I was a ghost or something. It was absolutely, I've never seen anyone shake so much in my presence until I met Michael Leatherbarrow, who came to work for me in my business, but my husband terrorised him that I was some dark demon and I was going to be a really vicious boss to him, which was all lies. He told all the male staff because he was a monster. But anyway, so I hadn't seen anyone do that at that stage of my life, a male in my presence, shiver and shake like that. So I'm looking at this young man. He was older than me. I was 17. He would have been, I don't know, 20, 22. And, you know, the look on my face would have said it all, like, what the fuck is wrong with you, right? I couldn't understand it. But also, I went to an all-girls high school, so I wasn't used to being surrounded by vulnerable, emotional, probably licentious, lustful men trying to contain it because of their religious background. And, you know, I had no idea what was going on in this man's mind, you know. So I'm looking at him. And I said, what's your problem? And then he kind of looked at me and went a bit pale that I actually spoke to him. He said, you must understand, I am a Muslim. I went, yeah, so? I'm converting to Judaism. So what's your problem? And I think he was more astonished at my intellect and my confidence at such a young age as well. And he just said to me, oh, well, he said, it is forbidden in my religion as a single man to be alone in a room with a single woman. I went, but I'm not here, it's not a dating agency. I'm here to study, I'm here for a tutorial. And he said, yes, I am here for that too. And I went, so what's your problem? And he couldn't wrap his head around it. He said, oh, well, it's not allowed. And I went, I'm not the least bit interested in you romantically. I really wasn't at that age. It was before I met my husband, actually. I met my husband when I was 17 and a half. No, that's not true. I was 17 and a quarter. So it must have been early in the year. If it was early in the year, I was still 16 because I don't turn 17 till April. But anyway, so this poor young man who's trying to keep his religious doctrinal practices, honour them, and was put in this dilemma that he was now alone in the room with an infidel, a Jew, and who was converting to be a Jew, and a little gorgeous little blondie at that, and by the way, still a virgin, and alone in a room, which in his culture meant he'd have to marry me. I was like, you don't have to marry me. I don't want to marry you. I don't even know you. Like, calm your farm. And it was quite delightful, but weird. But that's how I found out that, certain cultures freak out about being alone in a room with a woman. And it's really quite odd, to be honest. Still, I find it a bit odd. But now, at my late stage of life, if a man shivers and shakes in front of me, I know he's got no positive intentions towards me at all, of the platonic kind. And sometimes it can be a little bit amusing and flattering even. Other times downright fucking creepy, depending on the person and how I feel about them. But anyway, you kind of have to laugh, people of Earth. That's all I'm saying about that. Then the slave girl went away and was absent for a while, but a short while after that she returned to the jeweller and said to him, take thou care that thou be with thee none save thyself, neither man-slave nor girl-slave. Quoth he, I have but a negress, who is in years, and who waiteth on me. So she arose and locked the door between his negress and the jeweller, and sent his manservants out of the place, after which she fared forth and presently returned, followed by a lady who, entering the house, filled it with the sweet scent of her perfumes. When the jeweller saw her, He sprang up and set her a couch and a cushion, and she sat down while he seated himself before her. She abode a while without speaking till she had rested herself, when she unveiled her face, and it seemed to the jeweller's fancy as if the sun had risen in his home. Then she asked her slave girl, "Is this the man whom thou spakest to me?" "Yes," answered she, whereupon the lady turned to the jeweller and said to him, "How is it with thee?" Replied he, "Right well. I pray Allah for thy preservation, and that of the commander of the faithful." Quoth she, "Thou hast moved us to come to thee and possess thee with what we hold secret." Then she questioned him of his household and family, and he disclosed to her all his circumstance and his condition, and said to her, "I have a house other than this, and I have set it apart for gathering together my friends and brethren, and there is none there save the old negress, of whom I spoke to thy handmaid." She asked on him what wise he came first to know how the affair began, and the matter of Abu al-Hasan, and the cause of his wayfaring. Accordingly, he told her all he knew and how he had advised the journey. "Know, O such an one, that men's souls are active in their lusts, and that men are still men, and that deeds are not done without words, nor is end ever reached without endeavour. Rest is won only by work, and success is gendered only by help of the generous." This is true, people of earth. No one succeeds all alone. There is always a lot of support somewhere along the way, sometimes a lot of sacrifices made on behalf of your, partners or family or friends or beloved ones. "Now I have acquainted thee with our affair, and it is in thy hand to expose us or to shield us. I say no more, because thy generosity requireth naught. Thou knowest that this my handmaiden keepeth my counsel, and therefore occupieth high place in my favour, and I have selected her to transact my affairs of importance. So let none be worthier in thy sight than she, and acquaint her with thine affair, and be of good cheer, for on her account thou art safe from all fear, and there is no place shut upon thee, but she shall open it to thee. She shall bring thee my messages to Ali bin Bakker, and thou shalt be our intermediary." So saying, she rose, scarcely able to rise, and fared forth, the jeweller faring before her to the door of her house, after which he returned and sat down again at his place, having seen of her beauty and heard of her speech what dazzled him and dazed his wit, and having witnessed of her grace and courtesy what bewitched his sprite. He sat musing on her perfections till his mind waxed tranquil, when he called for food and ate enough to keep soul and body together. Then he changed his clothes and went out, and, repairing to the house of the youth Ali bin Bakker, knocked at the door. The servants hastened to admit him, and walked before him till they had brought him to their master, whom he had found strown upon his bed. Now when he saw the jeweller, he said to him, "Thou hast tarried long from me, and that hath heaped care upon my care." Then he dismissed his servants and bade the doors be shut, after which he said to the jeweller, "By Allah, O my brother, I have not closed my eyes since the day I saw thee last, for the slave girl came to me yesterday with a sealed letter from her mistress, al-Nahar, and went on to tell him all that had passed with her, adding, By the Lord, I am indeed perplexed concerning mine affair, and my patience faileth me, for Abu al-Hasan was a comforter who cheered me because he knew the slave girl." When the jeweller heard his words, he laughed, and Ali said, "Why dost thou laugh at my words, thou on whose coming I congratulated myself, and to whom I looked for provision against the shifts of fortune?" Then he sighed and wept and repeated these couplets. I just want to smack this guy up the side of his head. He's so piss weak, people. Oh, dear goddess. Oh, dear goddess. I must remember to be compassionate and kind. Not everyone's powerful like me. Anyway, he repeated these couplets, the sweet little Pillsbury doughboy. "Full many laugh at tears they see me shed, who had shed tears and bore they what I bore. None feeleth pity for the afflicted's woe, save one as anxious and in woe galore. My passion, yearning, sighing, thought, repine, are for me cornered in my heart's deep core. He made a home there which he never quits, yet rare our meetings, not as heretofore. No friend to stablish in his place I see, no intimate, but only he and he." Now when the jeweller heard these lines and understood their significance, he wept also, oh dear goddess, and told him all that had passed betwixt himself and the slave girl and her mistress since he left him. And Ali bin Bakker gave ear to his speech, and at every word he heard his colour shifted from white to red, and his body grew now stronger and then weaker, till the tale came to an end, when he wept and said, "O my brother, I am a lost man in any case, would mine end were nigh, that I might be at rest from all this. Can't manage being in love. Oh well, I better not be too hard-ass, 'cause neither can I." Oh dear goddess. But anyway, but I beg thee of thy favour to be my helper and comforter in all my affairs, till Allah will fulfil whatso be his will, and he will not gainsay thee with a single word. Quoth the jeweller, "Nothing will quench thy fire, save union with her whom thou lovest. And the meeting must be in other than this perilous place. Better it were in a house of mine, where the girl and her mistress met me, which place she chose for herself, to the intent that ye twain may there meet, and complain each to other of what you have suffered from the pangs of love." Quoth Ali bin Bakker, "O good soul, do as thou wilt, and with Allah be thy reward. And what thou deemest is right to do, do it forthright, but be not long in doing it, lest I perish of this anguish." And my former homeopath ghost of a Brisbane Israeli Scottish English motherfucker lover man just yelled out, "He's got too much sperm," which is how he used to speak about his patients that were in frenzied love lust. I'm sure he gave them some kind of remedy. Whether it was good for them, I know not. So I abode with him, said the jeweller, that night conversing with him, till the morning morrowed, when I prayed the dawn prayers, and going out from him returned to my house. Hardly had I settled down when the damsel came up and saluted me, and I returned her salutation and told her what had passed between myself and Ali bin Bakkar, and she said, Know that the Caliph hath left us, and there is no one in our place, and it is safer for us and better. Replied I, Sooth thou sayest, yet is it not like my other house, which is both fitter and surer for us? And the slave girl rejoined, Be it as thou seest fit. I am now going to my lady, and will tell her what thou sayest, and acquaint her with all thou hast mentioned. So she went away and sought her mistress, and laid the project before her, and presently returned and said to me, It is to be as thou sayest, so make us ready the place, and expect us. Then she took out of her breast pocket a purse of dinars, and gave this message, My lady saluteth thee, and saith to thee, Take this and provide therewith what the case requireth. But I swore that I would accept naught of it. So she took the purse, and returning to her mistress, told her he would not receive the money, but gave it back to me. No matter, answered Shams al-Nahar. As soon as the slave girl was gone, continued the jeweller, I arose and betook myself to my other house, and transported thither all that was needful by way of vessels and furniture and rich carpets. And I did not forget china vases and cups of glass and gold and silver, and I made ready meat and drink required for the occasion. What a wonderful man who knows how to receive a woman in fine estate. Instead of the bums that all they could offer me was McDonald's on Valentine's Day, after, mind you, a 5-year relationship. I know. When the damsel came and saw what I had done, it pleased her, and she, you have to laugh. I can laugh about it now. It wasn't funny at the time. And she bade me fetch Ali bin Bakkar. But I said, None shall bring him, save thou. Accordingly, she went to him and brought him back perfectly dressed and looking his best. I met him and greeted him, and then seated him upon a divan befitting his condition, and set before him sweet-scented flowers in vases of china and vari-coloured glass. Then I set on a tray of many-tinted meats, such as broaden the breast with their sight, and sat talking with him and diverting him, whilst the slave girl went away and was absent till after sundown prayers, when she returned with Shams al-Nahar, attended by 2 maids and none else. Now, as soon as she saw Ali bin Bakkar, and he saw her, he rose and embraced her, and she on her side embraced him, and both fell in a fit to the ground. They lay... Sorry, I just had to raise my eyebrows at that. They lay for a whole hour insensible. Then, coming to themselves, they began mutually to complain of the pains of separation. Thereupon they drew near to each other and sat talking charmingly, softly, tenderly, after which they somewhat perfumed themselves and fell to thanking me for what I had done for them. Quoth I, Have ye a mind for food? Yes, quoth they. So I set before them a small matter of food, and they ate till they were satisfied, and then washed their hands, after which I led them to another sitting room, and brought them wine. So they drank and drank deep, and inclined to each other, and presently Shams al-Nahar said to me, O my master, complete thy kindness by bringing us a lute or other instrument of mirth and music, that the measure of our joy may be fully filled. I replied, On my head and eyes, and rising brought her a lute, which she took and tuned, then laying it in her lap, she touched it with a masterly touch, at once exciting to sadness, and changing sorrow to gladness, after which she sang these two couplets. My sleeplessness would show I love to bide on wake, and would my leanness prove that sickness is my make, and tear floods course adown the cheeks, they only scold, burn, burn the cheeks off your face with heat and passion. Would I new union shall disunion overtake? Then she went on to sing the choicest and most affecting poesy to many and various modes, till our senses were bewitched, and the very room danced with excess of delight and surprise at her sweet singing, and neither thought nor reason was left in us. When she had sat a while, and the cup had gone round amongst us, the damsel took the lute, and sang to a lively measure these couplets. My love a meeting promised me, and kept it faithfully. One night as many I shall count in number and degree. O night of joyance, fate vouchsafed to faithless lovers uncaring for the railer loon and all his company. My lover lay the night with me, and clipped me with his right, while I with left embraced him, a faint for ecstasy, and hugged him to my breast, and sucked the sweet wine of his lips, full savouring the honey draught the honey man sold to me. Whilst we were thus drowned in the sea of gladness, continued the jeweller, behold, there came in to us a little maid, trembling, and said, O my lady, look how you may go away, for the folk have found you out, and have surrounded the house, and we know not the cause of this. When I heard her words, I arose startled, and lo, in rushed a slave girl, who cried, Calamity hath come upon you. At the same moment the door was burst open, and there rushed in upon us 10 men, masked in kerchiefs, with hangers in their hands and swords by their sides, and as many more behind them. I think by hangers they mean nooses. They don't mean coat hangers. They don't. Surely not. The trauma memory from that, because my mother worked for a delinquent girls' home. They called it a boar store in New Zealand. She went to work one day, and this bulldyke fucking guard had beaten one of the girls almost to death with a wire coat hanger, and there was blood all over the floor, and it was intense, people of earth. My mother came home from work, told me 7 years of age the story, mind you. Didn't think to hold back the grisly details either. And said, you can be beaten to death with a wire coat hanger, Tanya. And then when I was 17 and dating my later to become husband, or was I 18? I was 18, I was already engaged to him, that's right. I was having a bath and she was calling out to me and I was in the bath, bathing, washing myself. I can't remember what frenzied berserker fucking temper tantrum she was having at that time, but she came in with a plastic coat hanger and went to hit me with it. And I stood up out of the bath. Lucky I didn't slip over and crack my head, mind you. I grabbed the end of that coat hanger and I said, how fucking disgusting are you after that history when I was 7, when you witnessed a girl get murdered, almost murdered, with wire coat hanger, and now you dare to use that as a weapon against me? She just looked at me and walked out of the bathroom. By the gods, that woman was mad, my mother. She was a mad woman, completely fucking mad. Made me wonder if that story about it being someone else was alive from the very beginning. Anyway, no, that can't be right, because a few days later my mother was fired because she reported that incident, and because it was so traumatising and awful, she reported it to the authorities. So the boss still fired her. They also fired her for making me at age 7 make little love beads out of little seed beads, long necklaces which she used to present to the teenage delinquent girls that were imprisoned in that home. Anyway, after she was fired, didn't go to work the next day. A few days after, the girls realised she wasn't coming back to work. They escaped and they actually rang us. In those days, they were the old rotary phones, and they actually phoned us, and my mother held the phone to my ear so I could hear their voices, teenage girls crying, where are you, Auntie Mitzi? They loved her, my mother. They didn't know that she was a, street angel home fucking devil, did they? So they're crying, where are you, Auntie Mitzi? Where are you? We need you, you're not here. My mother said, I've been fired, girls. I can't come back to work. I can't see you ever again. I'm sorry. And I heard them shrieking and wailing, with genuine despair. She said, you have to go back to the home. If they catch you missing, you will get severely brutalised. You need to go back, which they did. She gets off the phone. She said to me, this is what happens to you if you run away from home, Tanya. Weaponised it. Weaponised that trauma. Don't ever run away, Tanya. You'll end up worse off. Wasn't she a fucking monster? But anyway, I'm sure here that they're referring to, they wanted to hang, the 2 lovers for betraying the Caliph. And swords by their sides, and many more behind them. When I saw this, the world was straightened on me for all its wideness. And by the way, I never ran away from home, although I thought about it frequently, because she planted that seed in my mind, and I was too frightened that by escaping I would end up in worse danger with strangers. And you know what? Could never have been any worse than what I was enduring at 6 and 7 with those fucking awful monsters, by the way. But then you think that, and then you read stories like The Sound of Freedom, of all those little children sold into slavery and being absolutely brutalised on a daily basis, and they had it much worse than I. So you see, it all goes in degrees. Know your own monster and figure out what's survivable. And it's astonishing what a human being can survive, people of Earth. Utterly astonishing. That's why I fight hard, even at almost 60, for my beautiful life to be surrounded by good, kind, honouring, loving, noble, protective people who have my back, my sides and my front, and would never damage me or cause me harm, ever again, because I've had quite enough in my lifetime, quite enough, including in early childhood. But let us continue with this fairy story. When I saw this, the world was straightened on me for all its wideness, and I looked to the door, but saw no issue. So I sprang from the terrace into the house of one of my neighbours, and there hid myself. Thence I found that folk had entered my lodgings, and were making a mighty hubbub, and I concluded that the Caliph had got excuse me had got wind of us, and sent his chief of the watch to seize us and bring us before him. So I abode confounded and ceased not remaining in my place, without any possibility of quitting it till midnight. And presently the housemaster arose, for he had heard me moving, and he feared with exceeding great fear of me. So he came forth from his room with drawn brand in hand, and made at me, saying, Who is this in my house? Quoth I am thy neighbour and the jeweller. And he knew me and retired. Then he fetched a light, and coming up to me said, O my brother, indeed that which hath befallen thee this night is no light matter to me. I replied, O my brother, tell me who was in my house, and entered it breaking in my door, for I fled to thee, not knowing what was to do. He answered, Of a truth, the robbers who attacked our neighbours yesterday, and slew such an one, and took his goods, saw thee on the same day, bringing furniture into this house. So they broke in upon thee, and stole thy goods, and slew thy guests. Then we arose, pursued the jeweller, I and he, and repaired to my home, which we found empty, without a stick remaining in it. So I was confounded at the case, and said to myself, As for the gear, I care naught about its loss, albeit I borrowed part of the stuff from my friends, and it hath come to grief. Yet is there no harm in that, for they know my excuse in the plunder of my property, and the pillage of my place. But as for Ali bin Bakker and the Caliph's favourite concubine, I fear lest their case get bruited abroad, and this cause the loss of my life. So I turned from my neighbour and said to him, Thou art my brother and my neighbour, and wilt cover my nakedness. And what then dost thou advise me to do? The man answered, What I counsel thee to do is to keep quiet and wait for they who entered thy house and took thy goods, have murdered the best men of a party from the palace of the Caliphate, and have killed not a few of the watchmen. The government officers and guards are now in quest of them on every road, and haply they will hit upon them, whereby thy wish will come about without effort of thine. The jeweller, hearing these words, returned to his other house, that wherein he dwelt, and said to himself, Indeed, this that hath befallen me is what Abu al-Hasan feared, and from which he fled to Bassorah, and now I have fallen into it. Presently the pillage of his pleasure house was noised abroad among the folk, and they came to him from all sides and places, some exulting in his misfortune, and others excusing him and condoling with his sorrow, whilst he bewailed himself to them, and for grief neither ate meat nor drank drink. And as he sat, repenting him of what he hath done, behold, one of his servants came in to him, and said, There is a person at the door who asketh for thee, and I know him not. The jeweller went forth to him, and saluted him who was a stranger, and the man whispered to him, I have somewhat to say between our two selves. Thereupon he brought him in and asked him, What hast thou to tell me? Quoth the man, Come with me to thine other house. And the jeweller inquired, Dost thou then know my other house? Replied the other, I know all about thee, and I know that also whereby Allah will dispel thy dolors, your sadness. So I said to myself, continued the jeweller, I will go with him whither he will, and went out and walked on till we came to my second house. And when the man saw it, he said to me, It is without door or doorkeeper, and we cannot possibly sit in it. So come thou with me to another place. Then the man continued passing from stead to stead, and I with him, till night overtook us. Yet I put no question to him of the matter in hand, and we ceased not to walk on till we reached the open country. He kept saying, Follow me, and quickened his pace to a trot, whilst I trotted after him, heartening my heart to go on until we reached the river, where he took boat with me, and the boatman rowed us over to the other bank. Then he landed from the boat, and I landed after him, and he took my hand and led me to a street which I had never entered in all my days, nor do I know of what quarter it was. Presently the man stopped at the door of a house, and opening it, entered, and made me enter with him, after which he locked the door with an iron padlock, and led me along the vestibule, till he brought me in the presence of 10 men, who were as though they were one and the same man, they being brothers. We saluted them, continued the jeweller, and they returned our greeting and bade us be seated. So we sat down. Now I was like to die of excess of weariness, but they brought me rose water and sprinkled it on my face, after which they gave me a sherbet to drink, and set before me food whereof some of them ate with me. Quoth I to myself, Were there aught harmful in the food? They would not eat with me. So I ate, and when we had washed our hands, each of us returned to his place. Then they asked me, Dost thou know us? And I answered, No, nor in my life have I ever seen you. Nay, I know not even him who brought me hither. Said they, Tell us thy tidings, and lie not at all. Replied I, Know then that my case is wondrous, and my affair marvellous. But wot ye anything about me? And they rejoined, Yes, it was we took thy goods yesternight, and carried off thy friend, and her who was singing to him. Quoth I, Allah let down his veil over you. Where be my friend and she who was singing to him? They pointed with their hands to one side and replied, Yonder. But by Allah, O our brother, the secret of their case is known to none save to thee. For from the time we brought the twain hither up to this day, they have not looked upon them, nor questioned them of their condition, seeing them to be persons of rank and dignity. Now this and this only it was that hindered our killing them, to tell us the truth of their case, and thou shalt be assured of thy safety and of theirs. When I heard this, continued the jeweller, I almost died of fright and horror, and I said to them, Know ye, O my brethren, that if generosity were lost, it would not be found save with you, and had I a secret which I feared to reveal, none but your breasts would conceal it. And I went on exaggerating their praises in this fashion, till I saw that frankness and readiness to speak out would profit me more than concealing facts. So I told them all that had betided me to the very end of the tale. When they heard it, they said, "And is this young man Ali Bakkar's son, and this lady Shams al-Nahar?" I replied, "Yes." Now this was grievous to them, and they rose and made their excuses to the two, and then they said to me, "Of what we took from thy house part is spent, but here is what is left of it." So speaking, they gave me back most of my goods, and they engaged to return them to their places in my house, and to restore me the rest as soon as they could. My heart was set at ease, till they split into two parties, one with me and the other against me. And we fared forth from that house, and such was my case. But as regards Ali bin Bakkar and Shams al-Nahar, they were well nigh dying for excess of fear, when I went up to them and saluting them asked, "What happened to the damsel and the two maids, and where be they gone?" And they answered only, "We know nothing of them." Then we walked on and stinted not till we came to the river bank where the bark lay, and we all boarded it, for it was the same which had brought me over on the day before. The boatsman rowed us to the other side, but hardly had we landed and taken seat on the bank to rest, when a troop of horse swooped down on us like eagles, and surrounded us on all sides and places. Whereupon the robbers with us sprang up in haste like vultures, and the boat put back for them, and took them in, and the boatman pushed off into midstream, leaving us on the river bank, unable to move or to stand still. I guess they mean stuck in one spot but trembling with fear. Then the chief horseman said to us, "Whence be ye?" And we were perplexed for an answer. But I said, continued the jeweller, "Those you saw with us are rogues. We know them not. As for us, we are singers, and they intended to take us to sing for them, nor could we get free of them save by subtlety and soft words. So on this occasion they let us go, their works being such as you have seen." But they looked at Shams al-Nahar and Ali bin Bakkar and said to me, "Thou hast not spoken sooth, but if thy tale be true, tell us who ye are and whence ye are, and what be your place, and in what quarter you dwell." I knew not what to answer them, but Shams al-Nahar sprang up and, approaching the captain of the horsemen, spoke with him privily, whereupon he dismounted from his steed and, setting her on horseback, took the bridle and began to lead his beast. And two of his men did the like with the youth Ali bin Bakkar, and it was the same with myself. The commandant of the troop ceased not faring on with us till they reached a certain part of the river bank, when he sang out in some barbarous jargon, and there came to us a number of men with two boats. Then the captain embarked us in one of them, and he with us, whilst the rest of his men put off in the other, and rowed on with us till we arrived at the palace of the caliphate, where Shams al-Nahar landed. And all the while we endured the agonies of death for excess of fear, and they ceased not faring till they came to a place whence there was a way to our quarter. Here we landed and walked on, escorted by some of the horsemen, till we came to Ali bin Bakkar's house, and when we entered it, our escort took leave of us, and went their way. We abode there, unable to stir from the place, and not knowing the difference between morning and evening, and in such case we continued till the dawn of the next day. And when it was again nightfall, I came to myself and saw Ali bin Bakkar. and the women and men of his household weeping over him, for he was stretched out without sense or motion. Some of them came to me and thoroughly arousing me said, I don't think they mean that in a sexual way, people of earth, said, tell us what hath befallen our son, and say how came he in this plight. Replied I, O folk, hearken to my words, and give me no trouble and annoyance, but be patient, and he will come to and tell you his tale for himself. And I was hard upon them and made them afraid of a scandal between me and them. But as we were thus, behold, Ali bin Bakker moved on his carpet bed, whereat his friends rejoiced, and the stranger folk withdrew from him. But his people forbade me to go away. Oh, bye-bye. Bye, Rati. See you next week. Thank you so much, inshallah. Thank you so much. Then they sprinkled rose water on his face, and he presently revived and sensed the air. Whereupon they questioned him of his case, and he essayed to answer them, but his tongue could not speak forthright, and he signed to them to let me go home. So they let me go, and I went forth hardly crediting my escape, and returned to my own house, supported by 2 men. When my people saw me thus, they rose up and set to shrieking and slapping their faces, but I signed to them with my hand to be silent, and they were silent. Then the 2 men went their way, and I threw myself down on my bed, where I lay the rest of the night, and awoke not till the forenoon, when I found my people gathered round me, and saying, What calamity befell thee, and what evil with its mischief did befall thee? Did fell thee, sorry. Quoth I, Bring me somewhat to drink. So they brought me drink, and I drank of it what I would, and said to them, What happened? Happened. Thereupon they went away, and I made my excuses to my friends, and asked if any of the goods that had been stolen from my other house had been returned. They answered, Yes, some of them have come back, by token that a man entered and threw them down within the doorway, and we saw him not. What was that? What was that, people of earth? I don't know. I thought I heard a blip on my phone. Odd. Because I have my phone on silent, so I'm hearing the little blips. But I definitely heard a little blip just then. I'm not crazy, am I? I don't know. Little blippy things. Oh, odd. Well, anyway, it might be the Fae playing tricks on me with my iPhone. Don't do that. That's naughty. It's crazy making. Anyway, where was I? Distracted by a tiny little blipping noise. Should take note of the time, shouldn't I? About 11:55 that happened. So I comforted myself and abode in my place 2 days, unable to rise and leave it. And presently I took courage and went to the bath, For I was worn out with fatigue and troubled in mind for Ali bin Bakker and Shams al-Nahar, because I had no news of them all this time, and could neither get to Ali's house, nor, out of fear for my life, take my rest in mine own. And I repented to Allah Almighty of what I had done, and praised Him for my safety. Starting to doubt my sanity. Maybe it was a message from someone, but no. Odd. Very odd. Anyway. Sometimes I feel like I'm living in some kind of fucking parallel universe. Like, how can I explain it? This like linear sort of abstract communication. Like this morning I reached out to, it's actually a dear friend of my daughter who housed her for a year, a fellow actor that she met when she was performing in the UK, and she was backpacking and ended up homeless because she had a lot of difficulty, people being quite cruel to her when she was living in England. I was surprised actually, because we have English ancestry, and one would think that being in the ancestral homelands that people would be kind to her, but they were actually really quite monstrous and did things like kick her out in the middle of the night, you know, a young woman on her own. It was appalling behaviour. Anyway, this person, I won't name him because they made my daughter and may watch my videos, is a wonderful man, him and his wife, and they took my daughter in and housed her for a year. She lived with them before she returned here to Brisbane. So I don't really know him. I've had very little communication with them, and I did knit them some lovely fairies as a gift in appreciation of all that they have done for my daughter. It was actually at her suggestion, by the way, but I was happy to do it because, as I say, it's the least I could do. They were wonderful, wonderful friends and proxy parents to my daughter while she was living with them for one entire year, people of Earth. So he's been, this gentleman has been liking, you know, over the years, since I've been on Instagram, has been liking various pictures of myself I put up, or, you know, posts I put up. So I thought this morning I would thank him. It's long past time. I haven't communicated with him in a long time. I thought I would. I don't think I've ever communicated him directly, actually, because the fairies were sent via my daughter, and they were very happy about it. The news got back to me, so I know they appreciated that. And I appreciate greatly what they did for my daughter. So anyway, I reached out to him early this morning when I woke up. I saw that he'd put another little like on one of my posts. And I won't read it out to you, but I just basically said that I was grateful for his support on my Instagram, grateful for what they did for my daughter when she was living with them in England, that it meant a lot to me that she was safe and with good, kind people. Thanked them for their kindness and sweetness to her, that it was a scary time, her backpacking with limited resources, very limited. And then I mentioned that we're estranged now and have been since the 20th of September 2023, and that it's awful. And I'm not like manipulating, or I'm just stating the facts. And that she must live by her own choices and I by mine as I forge ahead into older age alone. It's chilling and terrifying thought at times, which I do buckle under from time to time, to be honest. But that I intend to forge ahead and strive to continuously co-create my beautiful life with the gods, because that's what's left to me, people of Earth. You know, I have 2 family members that are still my biological blood, which is my cousin Melissa Rose and my cousin Megan Phillips. Melissa Rose Kelly and Megan Phillips, who both live, Megan's in New Zealand and Melissa Rose is in Cairns, so I don't see them, but who do keep constant, regular contact with me via Facebook and Instagram. And they are the last of my actual blood, my own bloodlines, to show any duty of care or love or affection towards me. The very fucking last. And then I have these beautiful friends, my friends in Ramjet and Alter Egos, and my friends in the Brooklyn Standard, and, when I go to Fitzy's, who've been very loving and supportive and kind to me also. And this man in England and his wife, whom I've never actually met in person, supporting me. So anyway, I wrote that, I value all the kindness and support I receive, and sent him love and blessings. Anyway, he saw that message 5 hours ago, didn't respond. No communication. I guess, what can you say? It's not much you can say, is there? So, anywho, it's all a bit odd, people, of it. This intimacy via long distance and dancing around me as if I were the centre of the universe and everyone else is just a spike of a spike protein orbiting kind of around me in various degrees, and holding me close at times but also keeping me at arm's length. It's a bit fucking weird, people there. But whether it's the fallout from the COVID epoch of everyone being utterly poisoned and also traumatised and unable to be intimate or close to me because of my fierce, defiant, rebellious stance against all of that. So some level they fear me. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. But anyway, you saw today my beautiful Rati, my cleaning lady and friend, how much she is sweet and loving and sweet to me. A beautiful soul. So, and I have many beautiful souls in my life, is what I'm saying. So it's not all turned, I guess it's a choice we each make. My daughter chose to abandon me when my health spiraled under in September 2023. And I'm better now, but she's not here in my life now, and it is what it is. And I'm just trying to work it all out, how I fit into people's lives and my place in this world and my role, and always whether I'm even wanted, and I'm trying to stay tethered here to planet Earth, people of Earth, because I have a tendency to want to uncouple myself from this Earth permanently. I'm not suicidal, but I'm not. I promise you that I'm not. But when things get very awful, or I feel like everything's just illusory and fake and some kind of weird, fucked up setup, those are the kind of things that can make me, get suicidal very, 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 very quickly and very dramatically, and I have to keep a fine hold on things because people can be cruel. They can play games with your heart and mind. It's not the first time or the last time that I've lived through not just the COVIDian epoch, which was the biggest game that was played on people's hearts and minds and bodies, but I had far worse sadistic cruelties imposed upon me prior to that even. So I'm a little bit aware of not losing myself into the machinery of hate that is all around me, that I experienced again on Friday night with two people being really fucking inappropriate with my body autonomy. Just saying. So I'm a bit tetchy and mistrusting and just holding it together because I've gained mastery over the psychopaths. But anyway, I'm okay, is what I'm saying. And I'm okay because I do have good, kind people in my life. You heard what I said earlier about being a 7-year-old and the monsters that surrounded me then. People would not believe me when I told them that my mother was a veritable monster, by the way, because in true narcissistic style she had gained the love and the trust and the appreciation and devotion of all her flying fucking monkeys who had no idea who she really was at home. Street angel, home devil. Those 3 teenage girls crying for her to come back to work, seeing her as a mother figure, not knowing she was incapable of mothering a fucking gnat with her own daughters. So it is what it is, people of Earth. We have to push it aside because that woman is dead and has been dead for nearly 15 years, and I have a beautiful life now. It's a weird life, an isolated life, often a marginalised life where I can only be loved from the sidelines, circling all around me. And of course I crave to be loved by a man who can hold me in his arms and be a lover and a partner to me and be real and true and authentic and loyal and faithful and powerful and courageous and can love me even in my brokenness and rebuilt kintsugi'd heart. It could happen one day, but in the meantime I need to finish the story and I need to get my togs, my swimsuit and a towel and take myself on a bit of a trip, I think, maybe Barbie Island, although it's an hour and a half away and it's already afternoon. So anyway, I need to go to the sea and let all this old putrescent filth just wash the fuck out of me and begin again and just let it all go, which I do from time to time, but life slams me again, so I pick it all back up and I get overburdened and overwhelmed with it. So there is that. But I'm looking forward to being with my beautiful man who loves me one day, somehow, by some miracle, when I work out who that person is and his true heart and mind and intentions towards me. And that too is a fairy story within a fairy story, given I live in housing commission without any money and probably to most men's worldview I'm a bit fucking crazy, and who's going to want that? So in the meantime I dance, and I'm going to go swimming later. It will do me the power of good. Anyway, dancing will happen on Friday. My beautiful childhood friend Margaret's coming up on Monday. So I've got lots of lovely things to look forward to. Co-creating my beautiful life with and for by the God's graces. Amen v'salah to that. Now where was I when I went off on my little mind flip world trip? So I comforted myself and abode in my place 2 days, unable to rise and leave it. And presently I took courage and went to the bath, for I was worn out with fatigue and troubled in mind for Ali bin Bakker and Shams al-Nahar, because I had no news of them all this time, and could neither get to Ali's house, nor out of fear for my life take my rest in mine own. And I repented to Almighty Allah of what I had done, and praised Him for my safety. Yes, Yahweh, Creator, Allah, Shekhinah, whatever you want to call that energy, let us praise that energy for all our safety and for all our deep, deep love and sweetness and goodness and kindness. It means all 7 heavens to me, given the life I have barely survived. Presently, my fancy suggested to me to go to... See, I thought I heard that beep again. What's beeping? Must be the laptop. Presently, my fancy suggested to me to go to such and such a place and see the folk and solace myself. So I went on foot to the cloth market and sat a while with a friend of mine there. When I rose to go, I saw a woman standing over against me, so I looked at her, and lo, it was Shams al-Nahar's slave girl. When I saw her, the world grew dark in my eyes, and I hurried on. She followed me, but I was seized with affright and fled from her, and whenever I looked at her, a trembling came upon me, whilst she pursued me, saying, Stop, that I may tell thee somewhat. But I heeded her not, and never ceased walking, till I reached a mosque, and she entered after me. I prayed a 2-bow prayer, after which I turned to her and, sighing, said, What cost thou want? She asked me how I did, and I told her all that had befallen myself and Ali bin Bakker, and besought her for news of herself. She answered, I might not go far afield tonight, to this afternoon. I don't have a lot of money. See how I have to rethink things? But Jesus. Anyway, I could go to Women Beach though, it's not too far. She answered, Know that when I saw the robbers break open thy door and rush in, I was in sore terror, for I doubted not but that they were the Caliph's officers, and would seize me and my mistress, and we should perish forthwith. So we fled over the roofs, I and the maids, and, casting ourselves down from a high place, came upon some people with whom we took refuge. And they received us and brought us to the palace of the Caliphate, where we arrived in the sorriest of plights. We concealed our case and abode on coals of fire till nightfall, when I opened the river gate, and calling the boatman who had carried us the night before, said to him, I know not what is become of my mistress, so take me in the boat, that we may go seek her on the river. Haply I shall chance on some news of her. Accordingly, he took me into the boat, and went about with me, and ceased not wending till midnight, when I spied a bark making towards the water gate, with one man rowing, and another standing up, and a woman lying prostrate between them twain. And they rowed on till they reached the shore, when the woman landed, and I looked at her, and behold, it was al-Nahar. Thereupon I got out and joined her, dazed for joy to see her, after having lost all hopes of finding her alive. When I came up to her, she bade me give the man who had brought her thither 1,000 gold pieces, and we carried her in, I and the 2 maids, and laid her on her bed, where she passed that night in a sorely troubled state. And when morning dawned, I forbade the women and eunuchs to go into her, or even to draw near her, for the whole of that day. But on the next she revived and somewhat recovered, and I found her as if she had come out of her grave. I sprinkled rose water upon her face, and changed her clothes, and washed her hands and feet. Nor did I cease to coax her, till I brought her to eat a little and drink some wine, though she had no mind of any such matter. As soon as she had breathed the fresh air and strength began to return to her, I took to upbraiding her, saying, O my lady, consider and have pity on thyself. Thou seest what hath betided us. Surely enough and more than enough of evil hath befallen thee. For indeed thou hast been nigh upon death. I've got an urge to smoke a cigar. Means one of my ancestors is with me, or possibly the voodoo god Bakker, because he's very fond of cigars. Also Baron Samedi, but you know, I wonder who wants me to smoke a cigar, people of Earth. There's something surrounding me with great love, but also kind of a little bit of mischief too. Well, anyway, we carry on, my darlings. I sprinkled rose water upon her face, and changed her clothes, and washed her hands and feet, nor did I cease to coax her, till I brought her to eat a little and drink some wine, though she had no mind to any such matter. As soon as she had breathed the fresh air and strength began to return to her, I took to upbraiding her, saying, O my lady, consider and have pity on thyself. Thou seest what hath betided us. Surely enough, and I've read that, haven't I? Dear goddess. She said, By Allah, O good damsel, in sooth death were easier to me than what hath betided me. For it seemed as though I should be slain, and no power could save me. When the robbers took us from the jeweller's house, they asked me, Who mayest thou be? and hearing my answer, "I am a singing girl," they believed me. Then they turned to Ali bin Bakkar and made inquiries about him. "And who art thou, and what is thy condition?" Whereto he replied, "I am of the common kind." So they took us and carried us along, without our resisting, to their abode, and we hurried on with them for excess of fear. But when they had set us down with them in the house, they looked hard at me, and seeing the clothes I wore and my necklaces and jewellery, believed not my account of myself, and said to me, "Of a truth these necklaces belong to no singing girl. So be soothfast, and tell us the truth of thy case." I returned them no answer whatever, saying in my mind, "Now will they slay me for the sake of my apparel and ornaments." And I spoke not a word. Then the villains turned to Ali bin Bakkar, asking, "And thou, who art thou, and whence art thou? For thy semblance seemeth not as that of the common kind." But he was silent, and we ceased not to keep our counsel and to weep, till Allah softened the rogues' hearts to pity, and they said to us, "Who is the owner of the house wherein we were?" We answered, "Such an one, the jeweller," whereupon quoth one of them, "I know him right well, and I watch the other house where he liveth, and I will engage to bring him to you this very hour." Then they agreed to set me in a place by myself, and Ali bin Bakkar in a place by himself, and said to us, "Be at rest, ye twain, and fear not lest your secret be divulged. Ye are safe from us." Meanwhile their comrade went away and returned with the jeweller, who made known to them our case, and we joined company with him. After which a man of the band fetched a bark, wherein I think they mean kind of a barge, wherein they embarked us all three, and rowing us over the river, landed us with scant ceremony on the opposite bank, and went their ways. Maybe they did throw them then. Thereupon up came a horse patrol, and asked us who we were. So I spoke with the captain of the watch, and said to him, "I am Shams al-Nahar, the Caliph's favourite. I had drunken strong wine and went out to visit certain of my acquaintance." I'm going to have to split this into another video, dear goddess. It is what it is, people are. Also, I'm getting tired. I'm fading out. I even look a little bit pale. I'm drifting on a sea of illusion. Also, I need to eat some lunch. Also, I need to take myself to the sea before I do have a fucking breakdown, although I've travelled rather well considering the loss of my beautiful Charlie. I need a cuddle and $20 million. But I'd settle for a cuddle. But never mind. There's no man available to cuddle me that I trust with my life just yet, since there's a few little oddities. It is what it is. Thereupon came a horse patrol and asked us who we were, so I spoke with the captain of the watch and said to him, "I am Shams al-Nahar, the Caliph's favourite. I had drunken strong wine and went out to visit certain of my acquaintance of the wives of the wazirs. Then yonder rogues came upon me and laid hold of me, and brought me to this place. But when they saw you, they fled as fast as they could. I met these men with them. So do thou escort me and them to a place of safety, and I will requite thee as I am well able to do. When the captain of the watch heard my speech, he knew me, and delighting, mounted me on his horse, and in like manner did two of his men with Ali bin Bakker. I don't know what they mean by two men mounted him on the horse with them. It's odd. Anyway. So, see, I haven't totally lost the plot, people of it. Well, I haven't lost the plot at all, actually. Keeping a handle on the plot. The plot thickens. Who is my truly beloved one? Who? Anyway, you kind of have to laugh, people of Earth. I'm looking forward to seeing Margaret on Monday, though. It's been many years. The last time I saw her, can't remember, about 5 or 6 years ago when she came up with her partner Nathan. No, it must be more than that. And then I saw them when she invited me to come down to visit her at her home in the Blue Mountains, which was wonderful. And I was so full of anxiety. This Bella, I took my little Bella dog, my Pomeranian, with me, Bella Rosa, and I thought she had a paralysis tick, so we were in a flap about that. Then I was in extreme anxiety because of my first holiday in many, many years. I did not stop talking the entire time. I drove her completely bonkers, people of Earth. I was there for a week, I think. Anyway, 5 days or a week, can't remember now. So I hope I don't be a pain in her ass when I see her on Monday, because I'll be like bibbity with my anxiety and excitement about seeing her. It's the reason why all my friends hold me at arm's length, people of Earth. Oh, smallest violin. Diddly, 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 diddly. Anyway, if I find I'm too overly excited, I'll just fucking take a Valium so I don't drive her a bit mad. It doesn't happen very often that I'm that overly excited, but sometimes it does. Where was I? Oh yes, I started to drift when they said they had two of the men put Ali bin Bakker on the horse with them. So I spoke to her, continued the handmaid, and blamed her doings, and bade her beware, and said to her, O my lady, have some care for thy life. But she was angered at my words, and cried out at me, and accordingly I left her, and came forth in quest of thee, but found thee not, and dared not go to the house of Ali bin Bakker, so stood watching for thee, that I might ask thee of him, and how it goes with him. And I pray thee of thy favour to take of me some money, for thou hast doubtless borrowed from thy friends part of the gear, and as it is lost, it behoveth me to make it good with folk. I replied, to hear is to obey. Go on. And I walked with her till we drew near my house, when she said to me, wait till I come back to thee. Just need to check something, people are there. It's my friend Margaret. So yes, see how I said I'm surrounded by love and energy. So I pick up on my friends. Ooh. She's currying up my favourite chocolates from a company called Alpha Confectionery, which apparently is in Moorabbin. And I haven't had those in many. When was the last time I had them? They're dried plums, dried prunes. Plums are prunes, aren't they? And they're coated in this like kind of liqueur type, kind of a sauce type thing, and then they're coated in chocolate. Oh, isn't that sweet of her? I'm writing back. Oh my God, thank you so much. Of course, I was thinking that she would bring them to me when she comes in person, but she's couriering them to me. Yummy chocolate heading your way. See the mischief? I picked up on the mischief. I ended up ordering them from the company, which no longer has a website, but they text message saves me melting and crushing them en route from Melbourne home. Wow. See how much I am loved, and all I do is complain. Oh no, nobody loves me. I'm going to be all alone. And then all these beautiful things get done for me by my amazing friends. I need to slap myself up my own ass for being a whiner and a whinger. Oh dear goddess. Right, here we go. So I'll just repeat that sentence. Where was I? And I pray thee of thy favour to take of me some money, for thou hast doubtless borrowed from thy friends part of the gear, and as it is lost, it behoveth me to make it good with folk. I replied, to hear is to obey. Go on, and I walked with her till we drew near my house. Friend, she said to me, wait here till I come back to thee. She went away and presently returned with the money, which she put, continued the jeweller, into my hand, saying, O my master, in what place shall we meet? Quoth I will start and go to my house at once, and suffer hard things for thy sake, and contrive how thou mayest win access to him, for such access is difficult at this present. Said she, let me know some spot where I shall come to thee. And I answered, in my other house I will go thither forthright, and have the doors mended, and the place made safe again, and henceforth we will meet there. Then she took leave of me, and went her way, whilst I carried the money home, and, counting it, found it 5,000 dinars. So I gave my people some of it, and to all who had lent me aught, I made good their loss. After which I arose and took my servants and repaired to my other house, whence the things had been stolen. And I brought builders and carpenters and masons, who restored it to its former state. Moreover, I placed my negress slave there, and forgot the mishaps which had befallen me. Then I fared forth and repaired to Ali bin Bakkar's house, and, when I reached it, his slave servants accosted me, saying, Our Lord calleth for thee night and day, and hath promised to free whichever of us bringeth thee to him. So they have been wandering about in quest of thee everywhere, but knew not in what part to find thee. Our master is by way of recovering strength, but at times he reviveth, and at times he relapseth. And whenever he reviveth, he nameth thee, and saith, Needs must ye bring him to me. Though but for the twinkling of an eye. And then he sinketh back into his torpor. Accordingly, continued the jeweller, I accompanied the slave and went in to Ali bin Bakker, and, finding him unable to speak, sat down at his head, whereupon he opened his eyes and, seeing me, wept and said, Welcome and welcome. I raised him, and making him sit up, strained him to my bosom, and he said, Know, O my brother, that for the hour I took to my bed, I have not sat up till now. Praise to Allah that I see thee again. And I ceased not to prop him and support him, until I'd made him stand on his feet and walk a few steps, after which I changed his clothes, and he drank some wine. But all this he did for my satisfaction. Then, seeing him somewhat restored, I told him what had befallen me with the slave girl, none else hearing me, and said to him, Take heart and be of good courage. I know what thou sufferest. He smiled, and I added, Verily, nothing shall betide thee, save what shall rejoice thee and medicine thee. Thereupon he called for food, which being brought, he signed to his pages, and they withdrew. Then quoth he to me, O my brother, hast thou seen what hath befallen me? And he made excuses to me, and asked how I had fared all that while. I told him everything that had befallen me, from beginning to end, whereat he wondered, and calling his servants said, Bring me such and such things. They brought in fine carpets and hangings, and, besides that, vessels of gold and silver, more than I had lost, and he gave them all to me. So I sent them to my house, and abode with him that night. When the day began to yellow, he said to me, Know thou that as to all things there is an end, so the end of love is either death or accomplishment of desire. I am nearer unto death, would I had died ere this befell, and had not Allah favoured us, we have been found out and put to shame. And now I know not what shall deliver me from this my strait, and were it not that I fear Allah, I would hasten my own death. For know, O my brother, that I am like bird in cage, and that my life is of a surety perished, choked by the distresses which have befallen me. Yet hath it a period stablished firm, and an appointed term. And he wept and groaned, and began repeating, Enough of tears hath shed the lover white, when grief outcast all patience from his sprite. He hid the secrets which united us, but now his eye parts what he did unite. When he had finished his verses, the jeweller said to him, "O my lord, I now intend returning to my house." He answered, "There be no harm in that. Go and come back to me with news as fast as possible, for thou seest my case." "So I took leave of him," continued the jeweller, "and went home, and hardly had I sat down when up came the damsel, choked with long weeping. I asked, 'What is the matter?' And she answered, 'O my lord, know then that what we feared hath befallen us. For when I left thee yesterday and returned to my lady, I found her in a fury with one of the two maids who were with us the other night, and she ordered her to be beaten. The girl was frightened and ran away, but as she was leaving the house, one of the door porters and guards of the gate met her and took her up and would have sent her back to her mistress." However, she let fall some hints which were a disclosure to him. So he cajoled her and led her on to talk, and she tattled about our case, and let him know of all our doings. This affair came to the ears of the Caliph, who bade remove my mistress Shams al-Nahar and all her gear to the palace of the Caliphate, and set over her a guard of 20 eunuchs. Since then to the present hour he hath not visited her, nor hath given her to know the reason of his action. Right. But I suspect this to be the cause, wherefore I am in fear for my life and am sore troubled, O my lord, knowing not what I shall do, nor with what contrivance I shall order my affair and hers. For she hath none by her more trusted or more trustworthy than myself. So go thou, O my master, and speed thee without delay to Ali bin Bakker, and acquaint him with this, that he may be on his guard and ward, and if the affair be discovered, we will cast about for some means whereby to save our lives." On this, continued the jeweller, I was seized with sore trouble, and the world grew dark in my sight for the slave girl's words. And when she was about to wend, I said to her, "What reckest thou, and what is to be done?" Quoth she, "My counsel is that thou hasten to Ali bin Bakker, if thou be indeed his friend, and desire to save him. Thine be it to carry him this news at once, without aught of stay and delay, or regard for fear for far and near, and mine be it to sniff about for further news." Then she took her leave of me and went away, so I rose and followed her track, and betaking myself to Ali bin Bakker, found him flattering himself with impossible expectations. When he saw me returning to him so soon, he said, "I see thou hast come back to me forthwith, and only too soon." I answered, "Patience, and cut short this foolish connection, and shake off the preoccupation wherein thou art, for there hath befallen that which may bring about the loss of thy life and good." Now when he heard this, he was troubled and strongly moved, And he said to me, O my brother, tell me, what hath happened? Replied I, O my Lord, know that such and such things have happened, and thou art lost without recourse, if thou abide in this thy house till the end of the day. At this he was confounded, and his soul well nigh departed his body, but he recovered himself, and said to me, What shall I do, O my brother, and what counsel hast thou to offer? Answered I, My advice is that thou take what thou canst of thy property, and whom of thy slaves thou trustest, and flee with us to a land other than this, ere this very day come to an end. And he said, I hear and I obey. So he rose confused and dazed, like one in epilepsy, now walking and now falling, and took what came under his hand. Then he made an excuse to his household, and gave them his last injunctions, after which he loaded 3 camels and mounted his beast, and I did likewise. We went forth privily in disguise, and fared on and ceased not our wayfare the rest of that day and all its night, till nigh upon morning, when we unloaded, and hobbling our camels, lay down to sleep. But we were worn with fatigue, and we neglected to keep watch, so that there fell upon us robbers, who stripped us of all we had and slew our slaves. When these would have beaten them off, leaving us naked and in the sorriest of plights, after they had taken our money and lifted our beasts, and disappeared. As soon as they were gone, we arose and walked on till morning dawned, when we came to a village which we entered, and finding a mosque, took refuge therein, for we were naked. So we sat in a corner all that day, and we passed the next night without meat or drink, and at daybreak we prayed our dawn prayer and sat down again. Presently, behold, a man entered, and saluting us, prayed a 2-bow prayer, after which he turned to us and said, O folk, are ye strangers? We replied, Yes, the bandits waylaid us and stripped us naked, and we came to this town, but know none here with whom we may shelter. Quoth he, What say ye? Will you come home with me? And, pursued the jeweller, I said to Ali bin Bakker, Up and let us go with him, and we shall escape 2 evils. The first, our fear lest someone who knoweth us enter this mosque and recognize us, so that we come to disgrace. And the second, that we are strangers and have no place wherein to lodge. And he answered helplessly, As thou wilt. Then the man said to us again, O ye poor folk, give ear unto me, and come with me to my place. And I replied, hearkening and obedience. Whereupon he pulled off a part of his own clothes, and covered us therewith, and made his excuses to us, and spoke kindly to us. Then we arose and accompanied him to his house, and he knocked at the door, whereupon a little slave boy came out and opened to us. The host entered, and we followed him. When he called for a bundle of clothes and muslins for turbans, and gave us each a suit and a piece, so we dressed and turbaned ourselves and sat us down. Presently in came a damsel with a tray of food and set it before us, saying, "Eat." We ate some small matter, and she took away the tray, after which we abode with our host till nightfall, when Ali bin Bakker sighed and said to me, "Know, O my brother, that I am a dying man, past hope of life, and I would charge thee with a charge. It is that, when thou seest me dead, thou go to my parent and tell her of my decease, and bid her come hither, that she may be here to receive the visits of condolence, and be present at the washing of my corpse. And do thou exhort her to bear my loss with patience." Then he fell down in a fainting fit, and when he recovered, he heard a damsel singing afar off, and making verses as she sang. Thereupon he addressed himself to give ear to her and hearken to her voice. And now he was insensible, absent from the world, and now he came to himself, and anon he wept for grief and mourning at the love which had befallen him. Presently he heard the damsel who was singing repeat these couplets: "Parting ran up to part from lover twain, free converse, perfect concord, friendship fain. The nights with shifting drifted us apart. Would heaven I wot if we shall meet again? How bitter after parting 'tis to part. May lovers ne'er endure so bitter pain. Death grip, death choke, lasts for an hour and ends, but parting tortures aye in heart remain. Could we but trace where parting's house is placed, we would make parting eke of parting taste." When Ali son of Bakker heard the damsel's song, he sobbed one sob, and his soul quitted his body. "As soon as I saw that he was dead," continued the jeweller, "I committed his corpse to the care of the housemaster, and said to him, 'Know thou that I am going to Baghdad, to tell his mother and kinsfolk, that they may come hither and conduct his burial.'" So I betook myself to Baghdad, and going to my house, changed my clothes. After which I repaired to Ali bin Bakker's lodging. Now, when his servants saw me, they came to me and questioned me of him, and I bade them ask permission for me to go in to his mother. She gave me leave, so I entered, and saluting her said, "Verily Allah ordereth the lives of all creatures by his commandment, and when he decreeth aught, there is no escaping its fulfilment, nor can any soul depart but by leave of Allah, according to the writ which affirmeth the appointed term." She guessed by these words that her son was dead, and wept with sore weeping. Then she said to me, "Allah upon thee, tell me, is my son dead?" I could not answer her for tears and excess of grief, and when she saw me thus, she was choked with weeping, and fell to the ground in a fit. As soon as she came to herself, she said to me, "Tell me how it was with my son." I replied, May Allah abundantly compensate thee for his loss. And I told her all that had befallen him from beginning to end. She then asked, Did he give thee any charge? And I answered, Yes, and told her what he had said, adding, Hasten to perform his funeral. When she heard these words, she swooned away again, and when she recovered, she addressed herself to do as I charged her. Then I returned to my house, and as I went along, musing sadly upon the fair gifts of his youth, behold, a woman caught hold of my hand. And I looked at her, and lo, it was the slave girl who used to come from Shams al-Nahar, and she seemed broken by grief. When we knew each other, we both wept, and ceased not weeping, till she reached my house. And I said to her, Knowest thou the news of the youth Ali bin Bakker? She replied, No, by Allah. So I told her the manner of his death and all that had passed, whilst we both wept, after which quoth I to her, How is it with thy mistress? Quoth she, The commander of the faithful would not hear a single word against her, but with a great love he bore her, saw all her actions in a favourable light, and said to her, O Shams al-Nahar, thou art dear to me, and I will bear with thee, and bring the noses of thy foes to the grindstone. Then she bade them furnish her an apartment decorated with gold, and a handsome sleeping chamber, and she abode with him in all ease of life and high favour. Now it came to pass that one day, as he sat at wine according to his custom, with his favourite concubines in presence, he bade them be seated in their several ranks, and made Shams al-Nahar sit by his side. But her patience had failed, and her disorder had redoubled upon her. Then he bade one of the damsels sing. So she took a lute, and tuning it struck the chords, and began to sing these verses. One craved my love, and I gave all he craved of me, and tears on cheek betray how 'twas I came to yield. Teardrops, meseemeth me, are familiar with our case, revealing what I hide, hiding what I revealed. How can I hope in secret to conceal my love, which stress of passion ever showeth unconcealed? Death, since I lost my lover, is grown sweet to me. Would I know what their joys when I shall quit the field. Now when Shams al-Nahar heard these verses sung by the slave girl, she could not keep her seat, but fell down in a fainting fit, whereupon the Caliph cast the cup from his hand and drew her to him, crying out, and the damsels also cried out, and the Prince of True Believers turned her over and shook her, and lo and behold, she was dead. The Caliph grieved over her death with sore grief, and bade break all the vessels and dulcimers and other instruments of mirth and music which were in the room. Then, carrying her body to his closet, he abode with her the rest of the night. When the day broke, he laid her out and commanded to wash her and shroud her and bury her. And he mourned for her with sore mourning, and questioned not of her case, nor of what caused her condition. And I beg thee, In Allah's name, continued the damsel, to let me know the day of the coming of Ali bin Bakkar's funeral procession, that I may be present at his burial. Quoth I, for myself, where thou wilt thou canst find me, but thou, where art thou to be found? Who can come at thee where thou art? Just wonder if I can squeeze in the last few pages before we run out of video. We're at 2 hours and 35 minutes. That would be annoying if it broke off in the middle of the conclusion, wouldn't it? So I'll come back with another short video for that. Yes, that makes logical sense, people of Earth. She replied, on the day of Shams al-Nahar's death, the commander of the faithful freed all her women, myself among the rest, and I am one of those now abiding at the tomb in such a place. So I rose and accompanied her to the burial ground and piously visited Shams al-Nahar's tomb, after which I went my way and ceased not to await the coming of Ali bin Bakkar's funeral. When it arrived, I'm getting pain in my jaw, which is not good, people. I get cysts in my jaw sometimes. Oh, dear God. Anyway, when it arrived, the people of Baghdad went forth to meet it, and I went forth with them. And I saw the damsel among the women, and she the loudest of them in lamentation, crying out and wailing with a voice that rent the vitals and made the heart ache. Never was seen in Baghdad a finer funeral than this, and we ceased not to follow in crowds till we reached the cemetery and buried him to the mercy of Almighty Allah. Nor from that time to this have I ceased to visit the tombs of Ali, son of Bakker, and of Shams al-Nahar. This then is their story, and Ali Almighty, have praise be upon them. And we have the next tale, which is the tale of Scheherazade concluded, but is only about 5 or 6 pages long. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, just over 9 pages, which I think will go for longer than 25 minutes we have left. So yes, I'll come back with a conclusion. Oh, what fun. I'm going to have some lunch and a bit of a rest first, I think. I may conclude it later today, or I may not. See how exhausted I feel. And anyway, much love from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. Have a beautiful afternoon, blessed people of Earth, and I'll be back for the conclusion of this wonderful fairy tale, which was 741 pages long, and has been a pilgrimage and a quest and times an ordeal, but we got through it, almost, soon to be finished. Bye for now. Take good care.